Hi guys, this is Lola here. If you guys want to see how I made this look, watch this video to the end to see how I got this look using some new products that I haven't used before. I actually look like the Nubian princess. I feel like I do. Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you a makeup tutorial, but first I wipe my face so I can get excessive oil off my face. Then I move on to take a loose powder to mat my eyebrow. This is to ensure that there's no excessive oil around my eyebrow area and making sure that my eyebrow stays matte. I then move on to brushing out my hair with a spoolie brush. Doing this will stretch out the hair so I can see the proper outline. Then I'm taking my pencil, which is the XXL brown color in number 1. I'm going to use this to draw a long line tracing the eye line or the lower line of my eyebrow. I have no technique to this. I just follow what I have, which is just to follow the trace of the lower line. After drawing this, I go into the angle of the upper line and try and meet it up with the lower line or the end of the lower line. Then I try to connect and create the shape that I want, then start to move it upward into the upper line area. After doing this, I try to fill in the eyebrow. I take short and very light strokes to give an illusion of what my hair should look like if I had a full natural eyebrow hair. As you can see here, I do this very lightly but very smooth also. I then take a spoolie to brush out this hair area to try and make the outline really light, trying to make it as natural as possible. If I have any mistake or I've overbrushed any area, then I take my pencil to try and refill. But at the moment, I think I've done a pretty well job. But the front area, I still have to lighten the underneath. Exactly. So I fill it in. After filling it in, I brush again just to give more fuller hair or more lighter strokes. Then I touch up on any area that needs to be touched up. Here I'm taking my LA Girl Pro concealer in pure beige to clean out and correct any mistake around the eyebrow. This gives it a more cleaner and sharper look. It gives it a more eye-defined eyebrow without any mistake or any outline being out of place. And then I take my brush, which is an angle brush, to swipe out and smoothen the concealer. This would help to give it a more blended look. I usually take this angle brush to blend out those areas and also to auto correct it. And then I blend it out into the crease of my eye area. For the upper area of my eyebrow, I'm going to be using my foundation to correct that area and to blend that area. This is to ensure that the color there matches my foundation itself. So I'm just going to use my foundation to correct that area. As you can see, you can hardly see any trace of any line. That's the reason why I'm using my foundation to get this place corrected. Onto my face, I start by first putting a primer on. This is to ensure that none of my pores are out. I'm using the Zaron primer, which is a Nigerian brand. This actually helps to mattify my face because I do have an oily face, so I'm using the mattified primer instead of a normal primer. Moving on to concealing my upper eye area, I'm using my concealer, which is also in pure beige. Then I try to blend this into the eye crease to ensure that my dark circles are not showing, and also it serves as a primer for my eyeshadow. Again, I blend in all around, trying to get a full coverage blend using my eye also. Taking my loose powder, I try to mattify the eyeshadow so that I can give it a nice blend. And also doing this, it ensures that my eyeshadow doesn't crease easily. Then I start, don't mind me, there was a music playing in the background which is making me sad. I start with taking a very light shade of eyeshadow to crease my total eye area. I use a loose brush in small size to clear out any dust, any powder flake. Moving on to my eyeshadow, I'm using the Kylie Jenner Cosmetic. At the moment, I'm using the Burgundy palette, which is one of my favorites. I'm going to start with the penny, which gives a matte finish red orange into the crease area. I'm usually a fan of this matte red orange because it does give a natural glow, especially to the women of color. I take this and put it in between my crease area, try starting with a very light stroke, and then I start to refill it in as I go. But at first, I take a very light touch to the eyeshadow and then use it around the crease area, blending it all around and also adding more as I go. If I think it's not clear enough or it's not bright enough, I start to add more to it. Taking the color break, I blend this at the lower line of my eyeshadow, not letting it touch the eye line itself, but I try to be close enough. This is to blend in between the crease area color that I use and the other color I'm going to use for the eye line area. So I blend this in gradually, like I said, filling it in. Also, this color is very close to the penny matte finish, so it tends to give like a more lighter shade on the upper crease, then darkening the shade into the lower crease area. Going in, I'm going to take my concealer and start to create a lighter angle around my eyelid area. I'm going to take from the teardrop side, create a sharp line, moving in all the way back but not reaching the total end of my eyeline areas. This will create a more mattified look for my next shadow, and also it makes my next shadow looks brighter than the rest, because this is where my center focus of my eyeshadow should be. Moving on to my next color, I'm going to be taking my HudaBeauty palette. This palette is so one of my favorites. I can't live without this palette. I'm going to use color Coco. This shade is also my favorite because it's very neutral. I take this and blend in the outer part of my eyeshadow area from the line area. Then I also do the same proportion in the teardrop area, creating a two equal line shadow on both end. So this is going to create a center focus to what color is going to be in between my eye. Also, as you can see, I'm blending this and I'm using a very small eyeshadow brush with a very small bud tip. So this will make it as precise as possible without losing any eyeshadow. Then I'm going to move on to using Maneater. Then I use that in those two areas. After I use Maneater, I'm sorry you couldn't see that, I move on to the 24K gold. The 24K gold is going to be my center focus of the eyeshadow. I move this a bit up to my crease area, creating like a square stroke triangle, like, if I can say that, because I don't know what shape that is, but that creates a look that I've always liked. Then I'm going to take Trust Fund and also add that on the layer of the 24K gold. The Trust Fund also creates a more subtle look in between. The two colors come out right and I love the blend. So I'm going to blend this at the center point also, which I said is going to be the focus of my eyeshadow. Now I'm going in to blend in all my crease area, making sure all the ash lines are not visible. This one to blend the eyeshadows. Now I'm going to take black truffle. As you can see, that is the black. I like it because it gives a good intense look. I'm going to use that at the back of my, I will be using that to create a smoky look at the tip of my eye. This gives a very intense look, which gives the eye, makes the eye a little bit more pop. After blending in all the extra colors, I'm going to be cleaning my face, taking a wipe to remove any excess makeup or eyeshadow that's built on the other side of my face. Now I'll be taking my LA Girl corrector. This, I like the orange corrector. I'm going to be using it to cover around my eye dark circle. This will ensure that when I finish with my foundation, I don't have any shadow around my eyes. Also, I also put it around my lip area, the corners of my lips, because I do have some dark areas in that side, even some sideburns. Don't mind my sister, she's a bit annoying. Sometimes she just tries to like ruin my videos. Moving on, I will try to blend this in. Please try to ignore her, please. She is a bit crazy, but I love her. I usually use my hand to blend this because I use, as you can see, one of the last two fingers because it's more mild, and this actually reduces the wrinkling of the eye area. After blending in my makeup, sorry, my concealer, then at this time I'll be using my foundation. I'll be putting on a liquid eyeliner. This actually helps to give a glowy look underneath my foundation even after the foundation settles. This gives it this glowy and flawless skin look. So I always apply this first, which is one of my favorites. It gives you that eye definition, especially when your skin hits the light. So I'll be moving on to my foundation. I'm going to be using a new foundation because this was a gift from H&M after buying. They did a promotion, I think, and they gave me this Natural Satin foundation by H&M. It was my first time. It doesn't have a full blend, but I do like it. Yeah, she's back. Yeah, but it was a good blend for the day. I wouldn't recommend it for 4-day coverage because, like I said, it didn't have a full coverage, but it wasn't bad. It had a natural feel. So if you're going for a light makeup without any intensity, or you don't want people to know that you're using so much foundation, then this foundation will be a good feel for you. I had to work at blending in the foundation because I told you it wasn't really covering. So I had to put more products, try to blend in to see how it would look. And I think the color wasn't even sitting right with me. But I'd assumed that I would use a blending powder and my finishing powder to blend in the colors in. But I tried as much as possible to use it and make it work. Moving on, I'm using the LA Girl concealer. I think it was in cinnamon, I'm not sure. This to actually highlight underneath my eyes, my cheekbone area also. Then I took my blending foam to blend in all the concealer. Moving on to the contouring of my cheekbone, I'm using the LA Girl Mahogany color. I like this because I'm really dark and I live in Dubai. It's really hard to find a good contouring stick or a good contouring color for dark skinned people. So LA Girl really actually does work for me, and I do like the fact that it blends well. You don't have to use a lot. You get, a lot of definition. I'm going to set my skin with the benign camel color setting powder. I like this because it goes well with my skin. It blends well with the color, and whatever mistake I've made with blending with my foundation or either my highlighting and contouring, this would actually correct it. It sets everything in place. So I'm going to be using camel in benign setting powder in camel color. She's crazy, but please, I really apologize for my sister's behavior, but she's one of a kind. I had a contouring palette. I was not sure if I can remember the name, but I used this to actually, define my contouring area. I think it was in coffee. I can't remember the name. I'll put it down on the description below. This actually helps to define my contouring areas and my shadow areas. I'm going to be using the ADS gel liner. I like this because it's very intense. A little goes a long way. I'm going to be using this to outline my eye. I'm not very good at doing eyeline or drawing eyeline on this on underneath or above my eyeline, so I take it very slow and steady. I know most people, they just do one stroke. As you can see, I almost made a mistake there. But don't worry, I can correct it. So I usually just take my time, slow and steady, to do this. Nobody is a pro. You learn from the beginning. Because I made a mistake, I decided to go back and take the HudaBeauty palette, and I'm using the black truffle to, do a smoky look underneath my eye to correct the look. I wasn't planning on doing that before or adding the black, but because of the mistake, that will work. So even when you do mistakes, you can always correct it by creating even another extension of your makeup. I will be going back to my HudaBeauty palette and adding Maneater, the color Maneater, underneath the eyelid, because I did use it at the crease of my eye. So I think that would add even more pop to underneath the eyes. So adding that, it would help to make it not look so dark and, gothic. And here, as you can see, I'm drawing out the total eye line. Again, my sister and my brother-in-law making a mockery of my video. So sorry for that, but they're so very annoying, and I just wanted to just I wish I could just move them out. But family, you know how family is. Very, very stressful. I'm just going to ignore them now because that's what I would do. They're just annoying. After putting on my mascara and my blush, I'm going to put on my eyelash. I'm using my sister's collection, which is actually my name. That is LureBeauty. That company is owned by my sister. And I'm using the one designed after me. I'm sorry you couldn't see because of the light. But that is named Lowe's Baby, which is named after me. I'm going to be using that for my eyelash. So please get yours. Check online, check on Instagram. You will see LureBeauty, and we deliver everywhere around globally. Moving on to powder, I'm going to be using MAC powder, which is the, I'm not sure, I'm going to put that down, but I know it's in dark. That is one of my favorite powder for MAC. Even though I keep trying whenever they have new powders or new design, I keep trying it, but MAC has always been a good finishing powder for me. After lining my lips with a brown pencil I had, I'm not sure I can even remember the name. The name is not visible, but I like all the intense lip lining. I'm using the MAC collection, which is designed by some name that I'm not going to try to pronounce because I actually cannot pronounce. I'm not sure if I can, but I love the color because I think it sits well with the eye. It makes the total look good. I actually bought this in set because it was a total collection by some, I'm not gonna try. I think it's called GiAMBATTiSTA VALLi. I think, I'm not sure, but I went ahead to take my LA concealer to add to the top layer of the lip. I know it seems weird, but it's something I always do. I love the look it gives. It gives it this raw, natural, but still colorful look. I can't explain it, but I love the look so much. Then I'm using my Pearl Light Loose Highlighter by Revolution. I love, love, love this candy glow. It's so, a little goes a long way. As you know, I'm not cheap, but it's something I like. You just take a little and you dab. It gives you this great flawless skin after you finish blending it. It's one of my favorites since I started buying it. I've not moved on to anything else. As you can see, I'm taking my fan brush and I'm using it to blend it in. Trust me, when all my makeup sets, usually during the day, it gives me this flawless look and this glow. Moving into blending all the highlight and the makeup with my powder, I'm going to be moving on to my Zaron Perfect Finish spray, setting spray. This actually is a good product from a Nigerian brand called Zaron. I got this as an event. It was a gift with a lipstick and some other things. I really like it because it does help to set the makeup. I'm going for a Nubian look, so I'm going to take my pashmina, which is a very light silky pashmina. I'm going to do this hairstyle, which is one of my favorite hairstyle that I actually use to tie my hair. It gives me this look, which I'm wearing with my dashiki top also. This actually gives me this African eccentric look. And with that, voila, as you can see, it pops my face. I do have a small face, so it brings it out. And as usual, feeling myself also in the process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful for people who are beginners like me and who's just starting to learn how to do good makeup.